gotta sell cars. You can't sell a car. I mean, what's the point of selling a car or promoting a car that is discontinued? Why? What is the point? What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yu, and you're watching the Road to TF5. This is just a web series. We're talking about Transformers last night. This is episode number 59, and in this episode, we got a whole bunch of shoutouts and a whole bunch of fan questions to answer, but we're gonna leave that till the end of the video. So if you want to know if your question got answered or if you ended up getting a shoutout, wait till the end of the video. For now, we gotta talk about news, and specifically confirmation about Autobots. We're going to talk about what's going on in the realm of good guys and Autobots. So we're going to start off with this confirmation, and that is Squeaks is confirmed to be an Autobot. Now, the reason why this is big news is because based on the appearance of the way Squeaks looks, it looks like it could have been a human creation. For example, a creation of Cade Yeager, an inventor. Or maybe Isabella Motors. Maybe she has the resources and knowledges to put together a robot out of her Vespa. Who knows? I mean, I don't know very much about her character, but she does own a Vespa, which is also a transforming robot sidekick buddy of hers. So she's the owner of Squeaks. But we finally have a confirmation that he is on the side of the Autobots, and that is because Transformers at the Moon has just posted that a trademark application was filed for Autobot Squeaks. Now, what of course stands out in this trademark application is the word Autobot, and also the name is spelled with S-Q-W-E-E-K-S. Now, previously, it was spelled two different ways, S-Q-U-E-E-K-S and also S-Q-U-E-A-K-S. The proper way it should be spelled. But I imagine that they had to change the way it's spelled and also got to put an Autobot in front of it, mainly because I'm sure Squeaks is the name for some other kids' toys, or like a stuffed animal toy, or maybe even like some cleaning product or some kind of household cleaning product. So that's why they got to file the trademark for Autobot Squeaks. So Squeaks is an Autobot. Now the big question that I have is, if he's an Autobot, when or at what point in time did he end up coming into this movie? At like what point in time? I'm just thinking, and here's my theory, that is when Optimus Prime, at the end of the 2007 Transformers film, the very first one, he made that call to the Autobots. If there are Autobots waiting amongst the stars, or like, you know, around the stars, we are waiting, we are here. You know, once he said that, whole bunch of Autobots came down. In Revenge of the Fallen, we saw the RC triplets, we saw Sideswipe, we saw Jolt, we saw the Mudflap and Skids. So that's just a handful of Autobots that came down. And then in Dark of the Moon, we ended up with Q and Dino, right? So there's probably more. And maybe, just maybe, Squeaks lost his way. Squeaks lost his way. He didn't end up with any of those Autobots, and then he just crash landed, and Isabella Motors ended up being friends with Squeaks. Now, the big question you're probably wondering is, why does it look like this? Why does it look like some kind of crude human creation? Well, the thing is that Cybertronians look a certain way. Now, it doesn't look like that, but they look like they have this kind of humanoid form that we probably won't get to see in the last night of Squeaks. So he has a Cybertronian form, and as long as he scans a vehicle or something, he will end up looking like that. And now that we know what he looks like, we can assume that, I guess, his mass, Squeaks' original Cybertronian mass, is probably the same size as this Vespa. And with a Vespa, with the lack of materials that consist in the make of a Vespa, this is the best way that they could transform it. Or this is the best way. This is what he looks like, essentially. Okay, he looks like this. And it looks like that, all right? And in the end, they ended up building a practical prop, like a physical prop, just like BB-8. So that's what I imagine is the origins of Squeaks. You gotta remember, Cybertronians can take any form. Squeaks happened to take the form of a Vespa, and that is what he ended up looking like. All right. So moving on, let's talk about the big confirmation. This was posted yesterday morning, or rather Friday morning, right on Canada Day, and that is Michael Bay just confirmed that Drift is back. This is Drift. This is a new Mercedes-Benz GTR AMG, and it looks so slick. Now you're probably wondering why is Drift not a Bugatti Veyron? Well, the Bugatti Veyron, the last time we ever got to see one was back in Transformers Age of Extinction, like the year it was released, mainly because the Bugatti Veyron got discontinued in 2014, the same year that Age of Extinction got released. So Michael Bay was pretty lucky to be able to include that in his film, but now he's no longer a Bugatti Veyron. Now he's a Mercedes-Benz GTR AMG. He confirmed this by posting this over at all of his social media accounts, such as on Facebook and but most importantly on his Flickr. The reason why I say his Flickr account is the most important post is because he actually puts down the word Drift there. That's the name. This is 100% confirmed as Drift, and essentially, the Autobot team is back. The gang's all back. We just didn't get the official confirmation for Optimus Prime. We know he's back. And also Hound, we know he's back too. And also Crosshairs, who we also know is back based on the set photos that we've seen so far. But the official confirmation so far is Squeaks, Barricade, Bumblebee, and now Drift. Now, Drift is a completely different vehicle from the previous vehicle that he was, and you got to remember, Transformers live action films, we are already 5 movies in, 10 years, almost pretty much by the time the last night is here, it'll have been 10 years. And if you're still wondering, and if you're still complaining about how the hell can all these characters take different forms, then you don't get the Transformers films. I don't even think it's a relevant question anymore, mainly because this has been happening throughout all the different films, all the various sequels, and this is a consistent thing. This is something that happens. Now, there are really only 3 reasons why this would happen. First of all, changing up the toy. You change up the toy, you have a completely different toy, then you end up buying a new toy, making money for Hasbro. Another thing is that they gotta sell cars. You can't sell a car. I mean, what's the point of selling a car or promoting a car that is discontinued? Why? What is the point, right? So, of course, they gotta make that change, okay? But story-wise, let's try to figure out how they explain this story-wise, if it is even going to get explained. Well, the exact same reason why Optimus Prime changed modes. We saw him change from evasion mode to Western Star mode. You know what I'm saying? So, same sort of concept applied. Maybe it's just done off screen. After all, they are robots in disguise, and after all, a lot of the humans know that these vehicles are Transformers. Now you're probably wondering why. Well, why didn't Crosshairs switch his mode? Why is Bumblebee just upgrading from an older Camaro to a newer Camaro? Well, that's their problem, okay? But the fact is that Drift needed a change for logistical reasons, and they're probably going to write a story for that. And most likely, we're going to see him as a samurai once again, just in different colors. And I like these colors: the black, the orangey red. It looks good. In fact, it looks like a more appropriate Drift. It just feels right. The previous one was black and blue, and it looked good. Black and baby blue. It looked really, really good, but I think this appears to be more appropriate. And I'm sure, just from transformation and the magic of ILM, they can make a Mercedes-Benz GTR AMG look or transform into a samurai, just like he was before. Now, another question is he going to retain his helicopter mode? Well, that's really up to if the story requires him to fly. All right, so he only needed to fly functionally for one scene. I mean, well, there was two scenes really, but it provided a function in only one scene, really. But if it requires for him to fly, then they'll have him as a triple changer. But if it doesn't, then we won't see him as a triple changer. So there you have it. I'm pretty sure Ken Watanabe will be back to voice him, but we're going to get that announcement later on in the end, in post-production, when they start doing the voiceover work. All right? Now, you know, I really don't mind it when they don't explain why they change, but the only character that doesn't sit well with me without an explanation of changing from one mode to another is essentially the whole Galvatron Megatron thing. So I hope they explain that. I'm pretty sure they're going to explain it because that is quite a drastic change. As for all these vehicles, like Hound going from a Oshkosh tactical defense vehicle to this heavily modified Mercedes truck, this is something that I really don't care if they explain, because as long as he generally looks the same and is about the same mass, then, you know, it's no biggie, all right? So moving on, we have another confirmation, and that is the confirmation of another good guy, not necessarily an Autobot, but a good guy, and that is Santiago Cabrera has joined the cast of Transformers last night, and he joins the team of these military, this military unit, like a special forces group, that has the upside down V's as their logo. Now, we already know that upside down V in history, I mean, in real life, means allied forces. It's just so that the allies don't end up killing each other. You know what I'm saying? So he's part of that team. And you know what's even crazier? Now this is crazy, is that Josh Duhamel is seen in this photo posing with Santiago Cabrera, and he also shares the same uniform with that V. So they are in the same team together. But we also see these military vehicles rolling out with Decepticons, chasing Autobots. So I'm just going to throw this out there. Here's my theory, okay? These are, this like whole V unit, this upside down V unit, this is a new team. This is not Cemetery Wind. This is not Nest. This is something entirely new, okay? Maybe the Nest broke up, so now they got to form a new thing, okay? And originally, this team has all these military hardware at their disposal, like such as these trucks, these military vehicles, these Apache helicopters, and all that. But somehow they lost control of them. Somehow the Decepticons got control of them. Somehow, I just don't know. But they have a way of turning these military vehicles on the Autobots. That's what I'm thinking. That's my theory. Okay. And then afterwards, hopefully, they end up being Combaticons. The reason why I'm hoping for this is not only because I want to see Combaticons and Bruticus, I want to see a proper combiner with, like, uniform-looking parts. Not a whole mishmash of yellow and green and red and white parts. I'm talking about a completely uniform-looking combiner. Maybe we can see that. Maybe we won't. It's really up to if the story calls for a combiner and a big threat. So that's just what I'm thinking. Man, I would love to see that Apache combine. I would love to see it transform. I would love to see all those other military vehicles transform. Moving on, let's talk about more humans, okay? I know humans is not the best topic to talk about in a movie called Transformers, based off of a cartoon called Transformers, which had the transforming robots as the main characters. But it's a live-action film. It takes place on Earth. It involves actors. They're going to be humans. I want to talk about these actors right here, okay? First of all, we got Isabella Motors, who is, you know, a young cast member, and I like the direction that they're going in already. I like the fact that they're getting like a 15 or 16-year-old or 14, I don't really know how old she is, but we're getting a young teenage girl as one of the lead roles, and mainly because she's a teenager. The reason why I like that is because it brings back that innocence of what I loved about the first one. Because Shia LaBeouf played Sam Witwicky, Megan Fox played Michaela Baines, and they're both in high school. Even though I totally don't buy the relationship because, like, she's totally out of his league, and I don't know, it just wouldn't happen. But anyways, I mean, okay, it would happen, because you gotta have some real serious game for that. But anyways, I'm getting carried away. The fact is that what made the first one work so well was the innocence of being these young people who witness these transforming robots for the very, very first time. So you have Isabella Motors' character is very, very young, and also you bring these other younger characters in. Now, I just checked out the Snapchat recently, and it looks like we have much younger characters like this guy or this guy. And there was a few days ago there was this casting call for these kids based in the Detroit area who carry a very specific look, and what they're looking for was actually kids that look young enough and of all different backgrounds, right? Who look very, very diverse. So they ended up making that casting call. Maybe the auditions are already done, and they ended up with these kids right here. And I love the fact that they're casting kids, maybe, hopefully, as bigger roles, because these are, first of all, some no-name kids. I've never even heard of them. They could be completely new actors, but I love that about the direction of how they're going with the human cast. Of course, there's always going to be the military aspect of it, and that's a given. But then there's also the Cade Yeager aspect, which is something they brought back from Age of Extinction. But the whole innocence of the kids, the young kids witnessing transforming robots is all gone when it came into the sequels, because we got Sam Witwicky, who's going into college in Revenge of the Fallen, and then he gets freaky with a pretender named Alice, and then he gets to date a supermodel in Transformers: Dark of the Moon, and then Shane and Tessa, there's really nothing innocent about them either, because after that scene where he showed the Boston state law, the Texas state law that shows this and this and that, right? You know what I'm saying? So the innocence is really taken away, and I love that they're bringing it back to revolving the story around kids now. I don't know if it's going to 100% revolve around them, but at least that aspect of innocence is there. So I'm really liking this direction that they're going in. So finally, that's all I really have to say in this episode. We're going to end off with questions and then shout-outs. So we'll answer these questions really quickly. Jay Kelly asked, oh yeah, and let me just reiterate how this works. If you follow and tweet it at me, a question with the hashtags ROAD to TF5, then I will answer. I will go through all the questions that were posted, and I will pick certain questions. There's a lot of questions, so I can't possibly answer them all in this video, but I'll do my best, okay? How much of a role do you think the creator will have in TF5? Small or large? It'll be a small role. That's what I think. It'll be a small role, and considering that this is the Transformers Cinematic Universe, which is inspired by the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Marvel Cinematic Universe was the one big thing that really inspired all these different cinematic universes. Believe me, okay? That's what was the catalyst for all these different cinematic universes, okay? Thanos is the character that ties the Marvel Cinematic Universe together. It doesn't matter if it's an Iron Man film or an Avengers film or Guardians of the Galaxy or Winter Soldier. You know what? We all know that in the background something is going on with Thanos. The creator, in my opinion, is the Thanos of the Transformers Cinematic Universe. It's going to be a small role in The Last Night. Austin Bittakofer asks, how important do you think Squeaks is to the plot, if at all? He's going to be important. He's going to be important to Isabella Motors. He will be the mode of transportation to Isabella Motors. And you know how Sam Witwicky or Bumblebee is the liaison between the humans and the Autobots? You know, specifically Sam Witwicky. Well, the Squeaks will be that character. I think there was going to be less of a focus on Bumblebee, even though he still will have quite a presence. But because this is a physical prop, just like BB-8, he's going to have a same kind of presence. I have a feeling that Squeaks is going to have quite a presence in Transformers The Last Night, because why else would they build a prop? You know what I'm saying? Next question is from JTG16. Do you think that the Allspark has something to do with granting Merlin his powers? That's from, yeah, JTG16. Absolutely. In the very first Transformers film, they mentioned that the cube has all these properties, these mysterious properties, and it can bring life to things, okay? And just like I said before, magic exists in the Transformers live-action universe. It has always existed. It's just called science, specifically alien technology. During the Dark Ages, during the time of, you know, Excalibur and Merlin, you know, there's no such thing as science. They called it magic, all right? So the Allspark definitely has something to do with Merlin granting his powers. Tom Hyde asks, do you think Megatron will be killed off again in the last night? No, I don't. I just don't think he's going to be killed off. Megatron surviving is kind of like how Cobra Commander keeps on surviving. You just can't kill him off unless you intend to reboot the series, you know, later on. He plays a huge part in the Transformers universe as a whole because he's the yin to the yang. He's the Optimus. No, he's the Megatron to the Optimus. The good versus evil. He's a representation of that. So that's why he keeps on coming back, and that's why he needs to come back, even if he has a tiny role. Let's see, what's the next question? Jasmine B asks, what excites you most about the last night, Alex? What element? I'll be happy just to see Optimus Prime again. For me, it'll be new Decepticon characters because the Autobots keep on coming back and they're basically the same characters coming back but just different vehicles, but at the end of the day they're the same characters. I want to see more new Decepticons and what kind of new vehicles and which characters, you know, which characters by name they're going to use and what is their specific like specialties, right? In the first film, we got a taste of that, but in the second, third, and fourth film, it was just Decepticon drones and human prototypes. All right, so I just want to see Decepticon villains again. That's what excites me. And finally, last question comes from Michael Sanders. Do you think we'll see the exosuits for the humans in the future Transformers films? Now, Michael Sanders, of course, referring to when Spike or Daniel had his own exosuit in the Transformers 1986 film. I think that's a high possibility in the future, just not now. When they get closer to fighting the Creator or Unicron or the Quintessons or whatever, I think that the humans are going to be on board, and because of that, they're going to need to upgrade their technology to be more space age or cosmic or whatever, right? So definitely, I definitely think that humans are going to upgrade their technology and potentially have exosuits in the later films to come, all right? So there you have it. That's all I got to say in this video. We're going to leave off with shout-outs, and shout-outs go out to Twitter followers. Bobby at BigBoom476, Alan Lee Han Po, Blue Bolt 1088, Cyanizer, Dominic V. Scar, Andy Murphy, Moses Jellyman, Derek Pearson, Jay Kelly, and finally Clarence M. Vaughn. Thanks a lot, guys, for following me on Twitter, and thank you to everybody that supports me at the Ragin Nation. You guys are awesome. Once again, you can tweet me your questions, but make sure you hashtag the ROAD to TF5. That way it makes it easier for me to look for these questions. I just have to click on the hashtag, and then all these questions show up. And if you're curious about, you know, not wanting to repeat the same question as before, because I'm not going to answer the same question twice, make sure you use that hashtag. Use that hashtag and search for that hashtag on Twitter. That way you know that somebody else did not ask the same question that you're about to ask, because I'm not going to answer the same question twice. And you might also want to answer something that's ask something that's very, very unique. Anyways, that's all I got to say in this video. I already have stuff or material for a Road to TF5 episode 60, so stay tuned for that. It's going to come out in a couple of days. And for all the new subscribers coming along to watch this, this is a web series where I talk about the production of all the films in Transformers Cinematic Universe, not just Transformers The Last Night. There's a Bumblebee film coming out, there's Transformers 6. We're going to do all the coverage on this channel, so make sure you stay subscribed. So, if as always, if you enjoyed this review, or it's not a review. If you enjoyed this episode, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter at Ragin Nation. My name's Alex Yu. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. And, prize giveaway on the next episode. We got prize giveaways on the next episode, all right? So I'll see you next time. Peace. Succeeded because some people believed that this was actually something from Transformers 5. Now it's dispelled. But